When your belly is empty, the hunger's so real, you're too proud to beg.
Hello, I'm Gregory Porter, here in beautiful Seoul, Korea. So glad to be here.
Is it true that you're uncomfortable to be called jazz singer?
No, I'm very comfortable being called a jazz singer. I'm only uncomfortable when people don't feel that there's room for these other genres next to the seat of jazz. I think gospel blues and soul music are the cousins of jazz, and they should equally share in a conversation. Quite frankly, the best musicians in soul music were jazz musicians, you know. And so maybe the best singers of jazz music could be a soul singer. I don't know. But I like to mix genres in my jazz. I'm only doing it because I've had an example. You know, Etta James, Etta Jones, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Lou Rawls, Ernie Andrews, all people who had these soulful voices, and they could sing anything, any genre. And so I'm in that tradition, I hope. I hope that I'm worthy enough to be in that tradition, yeah. I must have started loving music super early. My mother told me that I would sing myself to sleep. And I would just sing until my words slurred or my sounds would slur and I'd fall off to sleep. But I've always used music to soothe and comfort me. And as early as I can remember, but my first solo singing in church was at 6 years old. And I knew there was something special about music. And people gave me attention for my voice starting at that time. So yeah, six, yeah. I said 6, but 6, 7, 8, yeah, definitely in my very young years. It had to be when I was in Los Angeles, so 6 or 7, yeah. In the absence of my father, when he wasn't around, I was just aware of something missing. And I remember looking at Nat King Cole's album covers, and just like a child would do, imagining him, you know, as a father figure. Because that's what he looked like, you know, just sitting down next to a fireplace. A lot of very cool pictures of Nat King Cole. Yeah, I used to just imagine him as my father, and the music supported that. It's a lot of warm fatherly advice that was Nat's music, and still is, you know. Pretend, pick yourself up, smile. All of those songs have this fatherly quality. There's a bunch of wise messages in his music, and that's how I took it. And that's how I still take it that way when I listen to Nat's music. Yeah, I hurt myself, a torn rotator cuff in my shoulder. And it was a long process of rehabilitation, maybe almost a year. Going to the therapist and going to see doctors. And it came to the point where I couldn't play anymore. It was the injury was too bad. And in the depths, I was in quite a bit of sorrow and in college. And in a way, your identity changes. I was an athlete. And if I couldn't be an athlete anymore, then what was I? I don't know. So what was my identity? And just any time I had the opportunity to sing somewhere, I would sing. And then I got a reputation as the singer. On my college campus at San Diego State, they called me Luther, for Luther Vandross, and which is a huge compliment because I'm an enormous fan of his body of work. really the loss of my athletic career and the information that I had gained that my mother was ill with cancer. These two things. My mother, I wanted to go back home and be with her, and she told me to stay in school. But there was some sorrow and in a way frustration from that. And to release that, I would go to the jam sessions, jazz jam sessions I was going to in San Diego. And that was really the start of performing on a regular basis in front of people. Really just a couple of days before she died, she said to me, "Gregory, don't forget about your music. It's the best thing you do." If there was some burden of thinking that I couldn't do that because it was too risky, because it wasn't a traditional route to success, she lifted that burden. She was just like, "Gregory, pursue music." You know, that's essentially what she was saying. It's been a long journey to get to where I am, but the journey was worth it. And yeah, she saw it, and at that time she saw it more than I did. Yeah.
Listen to these charms, 'cause baby, I'm not fooling and
I was absorbing music, studying music in a not in a conservatory, but in a informal way. For some reason, many of my best friends were music instructors or music professors in schools. I was in several bands, several different bands, mostly jazz bands, but sometimes top 40, sometimes R&B band. Musical theater. I was doing theater. And for many years, this was a vehicle for me to use my voice, to be on stage, to find myself comfortable with audiences. I was lucky enough to always be in these musicals that dealt with music that was central to my culture. Jazz, blues, soul music, gospel. This is the music that I was singing on stage all around the U.S. And ultimately on Broadway in New York City. So I wasn't doing nothing with music. It just wasn't concentrating on my own writing and my own music. And it took me till I was 38 to do that, yeah.
Hey Laura, it's me. Sorry, but I had to ring your doorbell so late. There's something bothering me. I really am sorry.
I think the trajectory of my career after being with Blue Note was substantial because of the history of the label, the prestige of Blue Note Records, but also the internal confidence that can come about artistically from, in a way, there is no award for being signed to Blue Note, but there is a stamp of approval in a way. You still have to produce, but there was a confidence that came about by being on Blue Note, yeah.
Would you wish that your mother was here to see your success?
Without question. The way that I think is she is in the music. There's no question about that. I think of the records that I've written from the beginning to even till now. Her messages, her gifts to me, her teaching, her essence is in the music. Liquid Spirit, the whole idea of the song came about from essentially the essence of words that she spoke, a sermon that she preached. She was always talking about water, the healing powers of water. and I condensed her sermon into a song. My poetry, but her inspiration. Take Me to the Alley is my childhood experience with her. She would go to the places where people were hungry and lonely and addicted. And those are the people that she wanted to help and lift up and make better and help to heal. So her essence is all throughout the music, and I feel even still, you know, that she's watching in some ways, and I know that she would be proud. I'm still connected to her in a spiritual way.
There will be no love that's dying here.
I'm brokenhearted. It's the most painful, one of the most painful things that I've still going through in my life was losing him, because we did everything together from day one in our lives, you know. So it is very difficult. But the interesting thing is, he was at every recording session. He was the first one to record me years ago when I was in college. He has been so much of a part of my music. And after he died, I was like, where is he? I was searching for him. My story is his story. We were so close in age. Everything that I experienced, he experienced. You know, he is the person that I'm speaking of in certain songs. Like, somebody told me get over it. It's like water under bridges that have already burned. He's the somebody that told me to get over it. You know, we were standing on a bridge. He was like, man, get over that. Get over that girl. And so now I sing that song, and it's not about the girl that I had a broken heart about. It was her. It was him. That's what the song is about. Is somebody in your life who's holding you up and trying to help you get strong again and loving you no matter what. This is what the song is about. It took me years to realize that. So I searched for him in the music, and he's there in many of my songs. And I sing with him and my mother and my people as an inspiration. Their energy is not wasted. It still comes through me. Yeah. I wrote songs for other people to feel better in their lives. This is what I did. And then I realized during the pandemic, when I went to go look for some music to lift myself up, I was putting on my own records and listening to my own music. There will be no love that's dying here. I was listening to that for me. I needed to hear my own words to lift me up. And that was an interesting thing. Also realizing that, yeah, my brother was right there in the studio when I was recording these records. And so it was really an extraordinarily deep healing and psychological thing that music was, to pull me out of the pain of his death. And I'm still there. I'm still in that space, and I may be for the rest of my life. But there, in a way, sometimes you don't forget. You just live with sorrow. There'll be a more profound sensitivity. But this is the charge of the performer, the charge of the singer, to be vulnerable, honest, and open, and in some ways glorious and tragic. This is the charge. This is our job. So that's what I'll do.
Reroute the river, let the dam water feed. There's some
Really, since the first time that I came for the festival, I was struck by how the listening is and how connected they are to the lyric and to the song, and I was actually blown away. I was actually confused the first time because I was singing and then I was watching people. I was like, well, they're singing while I'm singing. What's going on here? And they were singing my songs, and that was beautiful. That was maybe the first time that's happened in my career. Since, you know, I've gone on, you know, many different places where they really know my music and they sing along now, but it may have been the first time that happened in my career, which is why I was so like, what's going on? You know, I'm a jazz singer. Nobody sings my songs, you know. But yeah, no, it was just this really sweet reception and a long line of people when I was signing CDs and records, and some people came with gifts and letters that I still have. Just the sweetest connections, and it was gorgeous, beautiful. Yeah, I won't forget it. To my beautiful Korean fans, thank you so much for the support that you've given me, the buoyancy that you've given me as an artist. I'll never forget, you know, the first time being on stage here in Korea and having this warm wave of love coming back at me from the audience, and yeah, it's been extraordinary, and I'm glad to be back, and I hope I'll come back many more times. And I'll keep singing for you if you still come and come to listen to me. So thank you.
Come on, clap your hands down. Come on, clap your hands down now. Dip down, take a drink. Come on, dip down and take your drink. Dip down, take a drink. Come on and dip down, take your drink. Beat boy, better dip on.